You know, we've all been there. Some days, you're just on top of the world, and other days, it feels like you're wading through mental quicksand. This isn't just some random feeling, it's actually the gap between who we are and who we could be. So today, we're breaking down the playbook to close that gap for good.
I mean, you know those days, right? It's like the gears in your mind are just perfectly oiled. You're in a conversation and the right words just bubble up to the surface. You're wittier, you're more confident, more social. It's like you've been zapped with this extra dose of mental clarity. And that's a glimpse of your full potential. So the real question is, why can't every single day be like that?
And really, this contrast is everything. On one side, you've got that peak state, clear, confident, and just connected. But on the other side, you've got the reality for so many of us way too often. Feeling sluggish, anxious, and completely overloaded. But listen, this isn't about a lack of ability. It's about a lack of strategy. And that's exactly what we're here to fix.
Okay, so our journey starts by clearing out all that internal clutter. Because look, before you can go out and conquer the world, you have to conquer the noise inside your own head. This first part is all about giving you the practical tools to get that essential mental clarity.
You know, so much of our brain fog is totally self-induced. We wake up, we immediately grab our phones, and we just inject our brains with cheap dopamine before we've even done a single productive thing. Graduated stimulation completely flips that script. It's a way to organize your day to work with your brain's natural rhythm, not against it.
So here's how it actually works. First, you just identify that one thing. You know the one you're dreading but you know you need to do. Then you tackle it immediately, first thing in the morning when your willpower is at its peak. And the real key here is to postpone the fun stuff. That way, your important task isn't competing with a TikTok scroll. It's just competing with boredom. And trust me, it almost always wins.
Okay, another absolute game changer is the brain dump. See, our minds are constantly processing stuff in the background. All those little tasks and worries you keep putting off, they don't just vanish. They create this constant, low-level stress that's just fuel for brain fog. A brain dump is like the release valve. You get it all out of your head and onto a piece of paper, and you clear the mental decks.
And if you think these kinds of structures are a little extreme, get this. A 2014 study found that when people were left alone with nothing but their thoughts, 67% of men and 25% of women chose to give themselves an electric shock rather than just sit there and be bored. That's how much our brains hate boredom. We have to be really intentional about creating an environment where focus is actually the path of least resistance.
So once your mind is clearer, you can finally face the real enemy. And it's not a lack of time or a lack of talent. It's this internal force that pushes back against everything that actually matters for our growth. Let's just call it resistance.
You know that really potent, uncomfortable feeling you get right before you're about to do something good for you? That's resistance. It's that tension you feel before hitting the gym. It's a perfectionism that stops you from even starting a project, and it's that voice of self-doubt that whispers you're not good enough. It is a universal force, and it is the main thing standing between you and your goals.
But here's the crucial mindset shift, the big aha moment. What if resistance isn't a stop sign? What if it's a compass? The very presence of that feeling, of resistance, it points you directly toward the thing you need to be doing the most. It's a signal that you're actually moving in the right direction, towards growth. This means that the task that feels the hardest, the one you're avoiding like the plague, is almost certainly the single most important thing you can do for your personal growth. The stronger the resistance, the more vital the task. It's as simple as that. So how do you beat it? Well, you don't try to rationalize with it. You don't wait to get motivated. You just submit. You shut off that overthinking, rationalizing part of your brain and you simply do the work. The thinking has already been done. Now is the time for action. And what's the most powerful tool for submitting? Boredom. Seriously, this is the nuclear option. You strip away every single alternative. Turn off your phone, remove all distractions, sit in a blank room with nothing but the task at hand. Your brain despises boredom so intensely that the work will suddenly become the most entertaining option available. And I'm telling you, it works every single time.
All right, so you've cleared the mental fog and you've learned how to conquer resistance. The final piece of this puzzle is taking all that internal mastery and applying it outward to the way you actually connect with other people.
This right here is probably the single most important rule of human interaction. People rarely remember the specifics of what you said, but what they do remember, what leaves a lasting impression, is the feeling you left them with. Did they feel valued and heard and understood, Or did they feel like you were just waiting for your turn to speak?
Just notice the difference in the mindset here. The person who's trying to be interesting is basically just looking for validation. They're performing. But the person who is genuinely interested, they're secure enough to turn the spotlight on someone else. They become an investigator, just curious about the other person's world. And this isn't a trick, it's a true reflection of inner confidence.
So how do you actually put this into practice? These are really simple but profound tools. Using someone's name, it makes them feel seen. A genuine compliment about their personality, not just their shirt, that can make their entire day. And when you're with them, just focus. Put the phone away and act like they are the only person in the entire world.
But let's be really clear about something. This is not about being a people pleaser. True likability is not born from abandoning your own needs and your own values just to make someone else happy. That just leads to resentment. The foundation of any great relationship is a healthy relationship with yourself first. You just can't connect authentically with other people if you've disconnected from yourself.
And really, all of this, clearing the fog, beating resistance, mastering your connections, it all serves one single purpose: to close the gap between the unlived life that's inside you and the life you actually live day to day. Which brings us to the final and most important question. Are you living the kind of life you actually want to be living?